following is a paid program, and the views expressed on this show do not represent the views of WJZ AM, Intercom Communications, its sponsors, or affiliates.
A Maven, an expert, an authority, a connoisseur, a specialist, a professional, a knowledge king, a rock and roll sports talker. Koons Ford of Security Boulevard is proud to present the Sports Maven with Bruce Posner, a no-holds-barred look at the sports world. Now, here's Bruce Posner, the Sports Maven.
All right, we welcome in everybody today. What a great show we got. We got head coach John Tillman coming on at 9:40. We got Pat Conyers from the PGA teaching professional at BCC. But right now, last night, Twitter was burning up, not so much about government stuff or a lot about government stuff, but also about perhaps, I believe, the best press box statement in its history. And that's their special double issue on the best of Baltimore sports. It's an issue you got to get. You got to go online. And I just grabbed Stan, the fan, Charles, the publisher, to come on for a minute. Stan, welcome in this morning.
Bruce, how come no tennis from the Australian Open on your show?
Oh, my Lord. Did you see that match between Davis and
I did not see
Caleb?
it. I heard about it.
You can't get me, Stan, you can't get me, brother. All right?
Yep.
What a tennis match. 15-13 in the third set. Lauren Davis almost upset Simona Halep, the number one player in the world. Lauren,
is the Maryland kid there, TFO?
You got me, all right?
Okay.
I'm not that up. I'm not that up. But I know one thing, Madison Keys is still on board. But, wow. Anyway, let's talk about your issue. It's really special. I think it's Press Box's finest moment. And
Thank you, Bruce, I really appreciate it. It means a lot coming from you, both a friend and somebody whose opinion I respect, because you are the sports maven.
Stan, it's what everybody was talking about last night on Twitter. Of course, you honored John Tillman, who's going to be on the show later, as the best of Baltimore sports. And the key word in that statement is Baltimore. And this is, I don't know whose idea, if it was yours or John's or whoever, but a super idea. You're 10 years late on it, but you know what? Better late than never, because everybody's looking at it. Everybody's talking about it. Congratulations.
Thank you. Really means a lot to me. We're getting a lot of great press. And, listen, we cover the nuts and bolts of Baltimore, and we include the University of Maryland in that. We cover the nuts and bolts of sports 365 days a year. We took a chance to honor some things that might fly a little under the radar, but when you think about them, they're really fascinating things. I mean, we honored Steve Jeppe, who's sort of the best person to watch an Orioles game with, to sit and watch an Oriole game, the best close call, which was College Park native Francis Tiafoe. His set against Roger Federer, his match against Federer in the U.S. Open last year, the best Cinderella story, Mount St. Mary's basketball team, the best new addition, concession addition at M&T Bank Stadium. So we did a lot of small things that fall under the radar but deserve to be honored. Best high school female athlete, best high school boys coach, all kinds of great topics.
Yeah, I was with Tillman on Thursday night, and I want to tell you that it really meant a lot to him, all right? And I know, he gave you extensive access, which is not easy to get from John Tillman. And,
no, it's not.
And the interview was great, and you probably got enough for 4 more publishings about the interview, I assume.
That's right. We're going to have the best part 2 of John Tillman's interview. John was great. He did give us some terrific access to him. And listen, I got to be honest with you. There weren't a lot of close calls on this. Around late October, when we were starting to put this together, there was a thought that Ken Niumatalolo was about to embark on a really special run with the Naval Academy, but we couldn't have imagined him pulling off something that made him as worthy as John Tillman of being the best of Baltimore sports. So if there was such a thing as a number 2, it probably would have been Coach Niumatalolo at Naval Academy for his job in football. But they faded late, So it was a real no-brainer to name John Tillman after he broke the jinx of how many years was it, Bruce?
42.
42 years of college lacrosse being back at the top in College Park.
Stan, I know you got to go. You got to get to your show. I'm going to let you run, but I could not let the day go by.
I really appreciate it, Bruce.
All right,
when you called me, I said, Bruce must need me to talk about the Orioles. They must have done something.
You know what?
But, yeah.
No comment. Or not today, you know. But
that'll be in our this off season will be in our worst of Baltimore sports issues.
Let's hope
All
not.
right.
Let's hope not. All right, Stan.
Maybe
Thanks
they
a lot.
can change it up. Maybe they can change it up before the season starts. Thanks, Bruce.
All right,
really means a lot to me.
Take care, buddy. All right, again, it's on the stands. I guess I'll have to do some more printings of it because it's getting gobbled up. I had trouble finding it today. All right, let's go to my potpourri. We got Pat Corner, and we're going to talk a lot of PGA golf in a preview of the year, a preview of the just the wealth of American talent, how things have changed. Patton Kizzire, I mean, this is a guy winner on the tour, and it goes on, and maybe the taking over of golf by Justin Thomas and DJ Thompson and Jordan Spieth is just another player. He's not like riding the reins, but we'll talk with Pat about that. And of course, John Tillman will be on at 9:40. All right, let's get down to some quick things. I'll let Danny be my alter ego today. Failure to draft Stefan Diggs once again triggers discussion of draft problems for the Ravens. And I was on Stefan Diggs.
Of course you were.
3 years ago, and now I understand DJ Moore is climbing in the draft ranks, where there's even talk about him slipping into the first round because of dearth of receivers this year in the NFL draft. DJ Moore has the best hands I've ever seen, along with Stefan. And DJ Moore, he caught so many passes that were misthrown this year, including about 4 or 5 plays, touchdowns that were like thrown 3 yards beyond the end of the line of scrimmage, or the sidelines rather, where he made acrobatic catches. Special, but this is really like dogging us now. We're going to move on, all right? We're going to move on to a new budding star for the Washington Wizards. I went to the game on Martin Luther King Jr. birthday, and what a great crowd it was. What a great day it was. They paid fantastic tribute to MLK, and it was just super. Every seat in the joint was taken. But the guy who lit up the Nets that day was not John Wall. It was not Beal, because they both were mediocre. They took 39 shots out of 76 shots. But it was Kelly Oubre. Kelly Oubre can dent the Nets from a long way away, and his confidence is growing. He's becoming a bona fide great sixth man, and it happened. What's that?
They need it.
They need more than that, but they certainly need it. He did it again last night against the Pistons, where they had a 45-point third quarter, and the Wizards bounced back from a pretty ugly 2-game losing streak at home, and then at Charlotte. You would have thought they would have come back against Charlotte after losing at home in front of that kind of a crowd. But and I learned something else on Monday. First time I've seen him play. That's why I went to the game. And I'm not even going to go. I'm just going to give his real name, and that's the Greek Freak. This guy is unbelievable.
He's a freak.
He is a freak. He does it all. He had 20 rebounds. In today's age, 20 rebounds, and he sat for a while. He didn't play 48 minutes rather. He sat for a while. The Greek Freak was incredible. He blocks shots. He rebounded. He hits from the outside. He drives. He gets loose balls. His reach is unbelievable, and I think it's a big factor in it, besides the fact he's a great athlete. But how did he not become one of the captains? They should have had 3 teams in the All-Star game.
That's probably the biggest snub, because behind LeBron James in the East, it's really hard to imagine Giannis Antetokounmpo not being there. And he's garnering it. He's going to have MVP votes at the end of the year.
He is unbelievable, and he's something special. And I look forward to that draft. I hope they televise it. You know, LeBron is going to take, he has first pick.
Right.
He's going to take KD without question, because he's got to keep KD and Curry separate.
Well, he's also got to keep Kyrie away from him.
Well, Stefan might lay Kyrie on him.
You know what?
If he doesn't take him,
Yeah.
all right, what's he going to do?
This is why it's so maddening that the NBA is not planning to televise this draft, because
That's going to change. That's insane.
it is insane. It is insane. There's too much
so
money
much
on the line. There's too
so
much drama.
Yeah, there's so much drama.
Intrigue, absolutely.
And look, let's face it. When the NFL does it, it's a snooze fest. When the NHL does it, you barely even understand it.
Right.
But people know these 22 names or however many it's going to be.
Yeah.
All right. They know them very well. And the game might not be great, but it could turn into a game. Because there's so much bad blood going around.
Well, that selection show could be better than the game. And while the NHL's version and the NFL version are eye-rolling and boring, the fact of the matter is if they do either of those formats for those same exact selection shows for the NBA, people will watch and people will be excited. And if they're worried about players having hurt feelings or they're nervous who's going to be drafted last, the way they did it in the NHL is that they gave the person selected last a car.
I love it.
And so Sidney Crosby, who's the best player, most recognizable player in hockey, is sitting up there with a loose leaf piece of paper saying, pick me last, I want a new car. I mean, that's the sort of thing that gives an opportunity to have these.
Wasn't John Wall taken last one time, or he was? What was that about?
John Wall has been a late addition to the All-Star team a couple times, and he's used that as emotional motivation and stuff like that. But the Wizards are in a situation right now, Bruce, where I feel like they need a lot, but they can play up to whoever their opponent is, and it's nervous. That's not a good position for them to be in. I don't like the fact that they've lost several games down the wire. Absolutely.
I mean, it's bad at home. They lost to Utah down the wire. They lost to Milwaukee twice down the wire at home.
Yeah,
can't happen.
Well, and they've gotten blown out by teams like the Nets before. I mean, even last night's good win in Detroit, they were down by 20 in the first half at one point. I mean, they're a very inconsistent team. There seems to be something upstairs going on in their heads right now, and that's why I'm not exactly reassured by the fact that Kelly Oubre Jr. is their savior, because he seems like a little bit of a head case himself. Now, I mean, Marcus Smart is a head case on the Celtics, but he can afford to be when he's surrounded by a bunch of disciplined players. The Wizards, I don't know. Let's
move on. All right, Caps lost 3-2 at home to Montreal. They don't like that to happen, but they're still in first place. Manny Machado is still an Oriole. I don't know what else to say.
He will be opening day. He will be.
Yeah, he will be opening day, and who knows what's going to happen. But he is still an Oriole, and the Orioles are still looking for pitching. Yada, da, da, da. Is that how it goes?
Yada, yada, yada.
But yet, I'm looking forward to baseball. I'm not sure why.
No, maybe
because all the turmoil over football this year.
How about how cold it is outside and miserable? You would just want the springtime. You want longer days.
Maybe that's it. All right, key question of the day to me, and I'm not, obviously we spent 60 minutes. Wayne subbed for me the other night. Can the Terrapin Hoop Squad get to 10 conference wins? Now, that doesn't sound possible when you look at the makeup of their team, but Turgeon has used his team as a work in progress, and with each game, they're figuring out what they need to do. But, wow, how do you win a game when Deion Wiley, Jared Nickens, or scoreless, and Bruno Fernando plays 9 or 10 minutes, almost invisible, and yet they found a way to beat Minnesota. And they won easy, in fact. What tells me this, they're going to be tough at home. And they have 5 home games left. The way I see it is they must win 4 of those 5 home games. And could they beat Michigan State at home? Yeah, they could. That might sound crazy if the way they lost by 30 points. But look what you talk about the Big Ten. Look what happened to Michigan the other night. They go to Nebraska. They lose by 20. 72-52. Maybe Maryland exposed them or something. Or I'm not sure what happened. I didn't watch the game because I didn't think it would be a game. And then I see the score. It was like, I'm still looking to see if it was the women's game instead or something. But it was unbelievable. So in the Big Ten, yeah, they can get to 10 conference wins. They're going to need 10 conference wins and at least, I think, one win in the conference tournament, which will not be easy, but they're going to need one win. They will make the tournament if that happens. We're not going to go into the final play in Michigan because it's been beat to death. But I think Maryland's play against Michigan has spurred them on to the great performance the other night against Minnesota. And now they go to Indiana. What a gauntlet. They go to Indiana on Monday night and then come home on Sunday to face Michigan State. And then Purdue the following Wednesday. And then on Super Bowl Sunday, they're at Big Ten's featured game, which maybe not a featured game anymore. Wisconsin, who has really fell off the radar, is coming to College Park for the only time they play Maryland this year. And I know Turge has been talking about he doesn't like the 20-game schedule, Danny. I love the 20-game schedule. I love it because too many times Illinois, really had Maryland on the ropes at the end and they lost it. Give them another shot at it. In other words, a one-time shot. What if Michigan State didn't come back to College Park? Like Ohio State's not coming back this year. Ohio State put a whooping on us, and you would like to get them at home. So, you can't play 26 conference games.
Do you think Turgeon would feel better about it if he had more than a 6-man rotation currently?
Well, that's the unluck of what's happened this year. But I think that if there's a lesson to be learned this year for Maryland is that you really do need to go 10 deep on a squad.
Absolutely.
All right? And, they're not 10 deep, and they're really playing with 4 or 5 guys. And, he made a great point the other week that you're having guys playing 35 minutes, Darryl Morsell, who should be coming off the bench and learning his way in. Well, that ship has sailed. He's a key ingredient, and he shows it every week, especially at home. You get on the road, and these freshmen sometimes don't play as well on the road. It's that simple. I mean, Morsell and Bruno Fernando, they're just not the same guys on the road. But as the season goes on, and Danny, I'm telling you, the season's coming to an end. You're talking about Maryland has, they're 4-4, so they have 10 more conference games, and that's it. 5 at home, 5 on the road. That's not a lot, and that's over, the season is done, and they go right to the Big Ten tournament. Well, we got to get to break today because we got guests. So let's head out to our first break. This is Bruce Posner. You are listening to CBS Sports Radio 1300 here in Baltimore.
Tonight at 6:45, Towson basketball is on CBS Sports Radio 1300. This time, the Tigers hit the road to battle the UNC Wilmington Seahawks. Spiro Marikis brings you the excitement of every dunk and every three-point shot. Live on the radio, Towson and the UNC Wilmington Seahawks. Hear it right here, tonight at 6:45 on the flagship station of Towson University Sports, CBS Sports Radio 1300.
There's no better place in Baltimore to buy your new or used car from than Koons Ford on Security Boulevard, across from Security Mall. Over the years, I have purchased many cars and trucks for GM Dennis Colatzos, receiving the best price, service, and comfort in dealing with a top-notch executive. Koons Ford Turf Talk listeners can view their inventory at KoonsFordBaltimore.com. Koons Ford carries a huge inventory of Motor Trend's Car of the Year, the Fusion, Hybrid Escapes, the 35-mile-per-gallon Focus, Mustangs, Expeditions, and of course the F-Series trucks. Koons Ford simply likes to make a little bit of money many times. What a great place to buy your new Ford. That's Koons Ford of Baltimore, 6970 Security Boulevard, across from Security Square Mall. Take exit 17 off of 695. Remember, when you're talking cars, you're talking Koons.
Call 410-298-3800.
Kelly Exchange is your one-stop shop for individual and family health insurance coverage. On KellyExchange.com, you can learn about healthcare reform, find out if you qualify for a subsidy, get quotes, compare insurance plans, and purchase coverage. With over 36 years of experience in the insurance industry, Kelly Exchange CareExchange.com is the only website you need to help you navigate the complexities and confusion of healthcare reform and purchase quality insurance for you and your family. Visit KellyExchange.com today. In selecting a professional, you always look to the backgrounds of the persons involved, particularly involving their experience, competence, and established performance. In Maryland, there's one number one leader with regard to personal injury claims, and that's the firm of Science & Kirk. Science & Kirk have handled more auto accident cases than any law firm in the history of the state. The Science family is on their third generation of attorneys that extend all the way back to the 1920s. Donald and his three sons make a formidable team representing their clients. Call their hotline 24/7 at 1-800-LAWYERS for assistance. That's 1-800-LAWYERS for assistance from Science & Kirk. At Baltimore Neurosurgery and Spine Center, the professionals provide the highest quality care to the patients. My friends over at Baltimore Neurosurgery and Spine Center are fellowship-trained, board-certified neurosurgeons and interventional pain specialists that specialize in treating all spinal and intracranial disorders with more than 20 years of combined experience. The practice is founded by Dr. Ira Goranczyk and his partner is Jim Conway. These two doctors are perennial Baltimore's top doctors. Not only do they perform complex inpatient procedures, but they also specialize in minimally invasive outpatient surgeries. If you're having problems with your neck or back, call my good friends Dr. Ira Goranczyk and Dr. James Conway at Baltimore Neurosurgery and Spine Center, 410-664-3680. Once again, that's Baltimore's best neurosurgeons at 410-664-3680. Baltimore, listen up. If you want crabs, you have to head to the Costas Inn on North Point Boulevard. There is no comparison in all of Maryland for the greatest crabs and crab cakes ever. Costas also serves unbelievable steamed shrimp, Greek salads, and steaks for lunch and dinner. Nick, Pete, and Costas Triantopoulos run the perfect restaurant to go with family and friends. Give Costas Inn a call at 410-477-1975 and tell them that Turp Talk Guy sent you. The third Bagby's has just opened in the new Foundry Row in Owings Mills. Signature super Bagby's pizzas, salads, sandwiches, pastas, and yes, even submarines. Hey, did I forget meatball subs? Bagby's Foundry Row is similar to the original Bagby's in Harbor East. Also featured next door is the Bagby Group-operated Foundry Row Wine and Spirits. Two more winners for the Bagby's chain. Call 410-356-7226. That's Bagby's on Reisterstown Road in Owings Mills. Bruce Posner here with a message brought to you by Chesapeake Urology. Guys, if you broke your right arm, would you just say, heck, I'll live with it, and make do with the left? Of course not. So why is it so many men with erectile dysfunction throw up their hands, assume it's just a part of getting older, and choose to live with it? The experts at Chesapeake Urology have treatments that can help virtually all men resume a normal sex life. Whether you're 48, 64, or 84, their doctors specialize in ED, and most treatments are covered by insurance. Even if you've tried pills without success, the specialists at Chesapeake Urology can show you better treatments. Don't live with something you don't have to. Call Chesapeake Urology at 877-422-8237. That's 877-422-8237.
Welcome back to Sports Maven, presented by Koons Ford of Security Boulevard. Now, once again, here's Bruce Posner, the Sports Maven.
All right, welcome back to segment 2, and we'll try and squeeze in a little football. Just for the record, I like Jacksonville tomorrow, certainly with the points, 7.5 points. It was 9.5. His mythical Brady injury is affecting that line, and I love the Vikings tomorrow. I just think that Eagles were somewhat lucky last week. They're good, don't get me wrong, but without the man and quarterback Carson Wentz, there's trouble. But there's no trouble brewing for my good friend PGA teaching professional at BCC and my good friend Pat Conyers. Pat, welcome in this morning.
Bruce, good morning. How are you?
Pat, every week now, it seems like I look at the leaderboard, all right, in whatever PGA tournament's going on, and I see more names I don't know.
Right.
Like this week, I see Landry is in the lead. John Rahm is second.
Yeah.
Kokrak,
Right.
and Pillar.
Yep,
I mean,
Martin Pillar.
It's unbelievable. What has
Right.
happened to American golf? Where is this like wealth of new young talent coming from?
Well, I would say it's coming from all the way from the junior ranks all the way up through the improved college systems, and I think we're seeing the results of the Web.com tour and how competitive that tour is, and what a good breeding ground it is for the PGA Tour afterwards.
So it's like there's now a phenomenal minor league system, is what you're saying.
That's exactly right. And it starts at a very young age with, I'll pat my fellow professionals on the back. I think the level of instruction now is good, from a very young age, and these kids just keep getting better and better. And when they come out on tour, they're not, they don't take a couple years to get their feet wet. They come out and they hit the ground running.
Yeah, for those of you who think that, Jordan and DJ and, Justin Thomas might, but there's not going to be a dominance ever like there was, even in the past few years. I mean, I think that DJ is, in my opinion, when he's on, he's the best. Is that a good way to put it?
Yeah, I think so. I think certainly right now, when he's on, he's the best, and he has a pretty wide lead between himself and the number 2 ranked player in the world, which is Jordan Spieth. I would still say, and we'll probably talk about him anyway, but when Rory McIlroy's really on, he's up there too. I think he and DJ, I think their best is probably the best.
Well, 66 at Abu Dhabi yesterday for Rory McIlroy.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Patton Kizzire. Now,
Sure.
Where was he a Web.com guy, or where?
He was. He was on the PGA Tour last year, and he did come off the Web.com from the year before. Won a few times on the Web. Really had a great year. If my memory serves me, I think he was Web Player of the Year, and then he won towards the end of this year down in the Island, which actually counts for 2018 with the wraparound season. And then, of course, he won just last week in Hawaii. So he's won twice in a real short span of time.
Does that move him up? I mean, is he a possible Ryder Cup player this year?
He'll be close. If he continues to play well, he's going to be right there. I haven't looked at the points as of right now, but that has to put him in the top 10 are automatic, and then they have captain's picks. But he must be very close at this point. Well,
Pat, again, that this year you'll have your top 12, but probably the second 12 could give the top 12 a battle for their lives.
Right. We could have an A team and a B team, and they'd probably be pretty close. In
other words, if they had like a sample, inter squad Ryder Cup,
right.
Of course they're going to foreign ground this year, and we'll see what goes on. But wow, and how can you not talk about Brian Harman, who just can't seem to get over the hump, but he's there every week.
Yeah, every week he. If you look at the stats, he's not a long hitter. He's certainly not a big guy, but he makes a lot of birdies. So that tells me that when the putter's on, it's really on. And it also tells me that guys like that are usually pretty aggressive. If they can't overpower a golf course, they're probably aiming at flags, and when they're on, they're really good.
Well, but he seems to be always in every hole. He just kind of reminds you of Freddie Funk, or a guy who. Right. Doesn't go far, but is always in the hunt. Always.
Sure. Yep.
So the Masters, let's give a real early preview of the Masters. Tiger's back, and Tiger certainly played well in his first tournament back.
Yeah, we'll see him next week.
Yeah, we will see him next week. We'll see. What did you see from his game in his first return?
I was surprised. I thought he looked sharper than I thought he would look. Physically, I mean, he had as much speed as I think he could wish for right now. I saw a different golf swing. I mean, I definitely, you could tell that he's had his back fused together, so he was not getting a lot of rotation. Therefore, he basically had to speed up his arms. That can be a little temperamental. If your timing gets off, the face can get awry and the ball can go sideways. But, it was 1 week, but I tell you what, I was really impressed with what he looked like. And other than a couple chips here and there, I thought he looked decent around the greens, too.
Tell me if I'm wrong, the new rule this year is that the pin can stay in?
Yes.
What does that mean? Why is that rule there? It can't be for the 12 seconds it takes to take it out.
Right. Well, not on the greens. You're still not allowed to hit the pin if your ball is clearly on the green. But it used to be and quite honestly, I'm going to have to read it up a little carefully on it. The last thing I want to do is give but.
We'll give you a pardon. You send me a text as to the exact rule and what it is.
Right.
But the rule it's been talked about, and I still can't figure it out. So DJ and Jordan and Rory McIlroy, and one of these days John Rahm is going to break through in a major. I would think. Who else do you look out for in the Masters? A month, almost 2 months from now.
Well, definitely, and you just named them. Dustin was the clear favorite last year until he slipped down some stairs. Jordan Spieth is always in the hunt. I expect him to be there. Lefty. I love Lefty. He hasn't won since 2013, but he's playing some good golf. I'm just waiting for him to get over the hump. I don't think we've seen the end of Lefty. And if Tiger plays well next week and maybe 1 week leading up to it, it's going to be really exciting.
Well, that would be the greatest comeback story in history of golf, except Bobby Jones.
Would.
Bobby Jones' comeback will never be surpassed. But
right, and Ben Hogan after
the car accident.
Right.
Yeah, and it would never be surpassed.
Right.
Pat, everybody watches all these info commercials on the air about. I saw one the other day. Looked too good to be true about this square chipper. All right.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Have you seen? Is that ad enticing or what? All right.
I'm sure it is.
As a pro, do they send you these things? Do you try them out?
There are, well, quite honestly, I'm in Orlando now for the PGA Merchandise Show this week, so I'll see everything imaginable this week, and I'll give you a report on what I think is good and what isn't. But
check out that square chipper, because if that works, I got to get it. All right, and they don't advertise the price, which tells me it's probably around $200 or something.
Right.
But
yeah. I think for the average golfer, there's some merit to it. Now, I'll tell you that it's pretty one-dimensional. I mean, it's for a chip and run type shot. So if you have to hit the ball up in the air and carry anything and land it softly, that's probably not your instrument. But for just getting the ball on the green and letting it release, it's probably okay.
Yeah, I see those ads, and every time I see an ad, I want to buy the club. But since I'm retired now, the funds aren't there. I got to be more conservative. But
I hear you. And it helps because they have Andy North demonstrating how to use it, and he won 2 U.S. Opens, so that makes it look like a good chipper.
Well, I can't tell you how many sandwiches I bought that are supposed to be guaranteed.
Right.
And I can't tell you how many of them I still skull the ball with out of the sand.
Right, I've seen it.
Those things don't change. Pat, I'm going to let you go. Thanks for getting off and playing with you. We got 2 months to our big event. We're looking forward to it. And thanks again for all your support. And the season starts for you and me right around the Masters tournament, and I can't wait. But Justin Thomas, to me, it's remarkable. These young guys, every week there's somebody new, and it's great for U.S. golf.
It's exciting. It's going to be a great year.
All right, Pat. Thanks a lot for coming on.
All right, Bruce. Thanks.
Danny, real quick, let's talk some NFL football. Do you agree with me on Jacksonville? Is it their time?
No.
Okay.
But I think that, as it's been said a lot in the last week, they have the blueprint to beat the Patriots, whether it be like the Jets did in Foxborough or the Ravens, or even you go back to Tom Coughlin's Giants. They're constructed in a very similar way, and the fact that they can rush Tom Brady without blitzing is a huge factor, and that defense would be the key. They would need to have several turnovers. They would need to have several big plays, which you don't think that Blake Bortles can. It might come down to Tom Brady's hand.
Well, you want to hear my title of the game in advance, like as if I'm the Amazing Kreskin or the Johnny Carson character. When the game's over, all right, it's going to be remembered for this, all right, the Jimmy Garoppolo game, because I believe that Jacksonville is going to get to Brady, all right? They get to everybody else. Look for Yannick Ngakoue, all right? Remember that name.
Listen, if the Patriots lose this game, I want to see Bill Belichick coaching the Giants, because I don't know how they can live with themselves if they let them.
If it's over the fact that they had to come in with Brian Hoyer and something happens to Brady, there's going to be hell to be paid up there. But probably as usual, when the game's over, the Patriots will win and everything goes on, and they'll go to the Super Bowl and the ratings will be great. And yada, yada, yada. What is it? Is that
yada,
it?
yada, yada.
Yada, yada, yada.
It's 20 years ago, Seinfeld.
All right. And there's that tennis match on ESPN. What a match last night. All right. This is Bruce Posner. We'll be back with the national championship lacrosse coach, John Tillman, in just a few moments. Cunningham's of the Bag Beast chain has been declared as one of the best restaurants in town. Located at One Olympic Place in Towson, Cunningham's has free valet parking and is open every night. The decor and atmosphere at Cunningham's makes you feel that you are part of a happening event. Using a wood-fired grill and oven, Cunningham's provides its guests with dishes created from the freshest seasonal and local ingredients possible. Call 410-339-7730 for a reservation. It's my pleasure to welcome the Supreme Neighborhood Market Gourmet again to the Terp Talk family. Now under the new ownership of Andy Huffman, Gourmet Again on 3717 Old Court Road continues its tradition of being a specialty food market with all meals, soups, and sandwiches being homemade. My family and all of Northwest Baltimore knows that Gourmet Again is the best market around. Let Gourmet Again cater any party or special occasion that you are having. I absolutely love Gourmet Again. Call 410-484-9393. Gourmet Again is open 7 days a week. Visit them on the web at gourmetagain.com. The phone number, once again, 410-484-9393. That's Gourmet Again. Superior Tours continues to serve the Baltimore area with superior price trips to New York, Atlantic City, or wherever your group wants to go. The Koons brothers have only state-of-the-art motor coaches for your riding pleasure. Superior provides same-day service to New York for only $68 round trip or $48 for one-way trips. Atlantic City trips are $38 same-day round trips with great hotel rebates. Call 410-602-1704 and make a reservation with Superior Tours. Since 1915, Atman's Deli has been serving up the best delicatessen in Baltimore on 1019 East Lombard Street. Atman's is open 7 days a week with an incredible menu, including all your delights. Call Elaine for all your catering needs at 410-563-2666. Remember, Atman's is open every Ravens game in the stadium at Section 118. Nothing is better for me than a pastrami sandwich at Atman's Deli. Mayer and Steinberg are insurance brokers representing Hartford, Travelers, Liberty Mutual, and Zurich, among others, specializing in restaurants, bars, law firms, accounting firms, and wholesalers. Workman's compensation is my good friend Paul Robinson's specialty, including contractors like heating, air conditioning, and landscape companies. Call them at 410-484-7000 and ask for Paul Robinson. Mayer & Steinberg is a 55-year-old insurance agency, family-owned and operated. They can also shop your current insurance coverages and in many instances save you premium. You can trust Mayer and Steinberg. My family and friends have done business with Paul and Mayer and Steinberg for years. There is no one better to represent you for your insurance needs. Call Mayer and Steinberg at 410-484-7000. Situated at 1 Olympic Place in Towson, Cunningham's Cafe and Bakery offers handcrafted breakfast, lunch, and coffee in a casual setting. Featuring house-baked breads and pastries, roasted coffees, and locally sourced eggs and produce from Cunningham Farms, the Cafe and Bakery is the perfect spot for a quick meal or snack. Parking is free across the street. Open 7 days a week. Call Cunningham's Bakery and Cafe, 410-339-7750. Parsonizing Fine Dry Cleaning, the best in Baltimore. Located at Crondall Corner Shopping Center, 410-356-9600, and Woodhome Square Shopping Center, 410-653-1881. They specialize in fine dry cleaning, expert shirt service, elegant hand cleaning, men's and ladies' alterations. They are the best, the Parson Brothers, 410-356-9600.
This is the Sports Maven Show, presented by Koons Ford of Security Boulevard. Now, here's the Maven himself, Bruce Posner.
All right, welcome back to segment 3 of Koons Ford Presents the Sports Maven. And I've been talking about him all year. I've been talking about the success of the Terps. I gave him a few months off after the title, but the season's coming up, and we welcome in the head coach of the NCAA 2017 reigning national champions, and that, of course, is John Tillman. John, how are you today?
I'm great, Bruce. How you doing?
Good.
Thanks for having me on. I'm just leaving the LaxCon here in Baltimore, so had a great session today. Listening to John Gordon. Famous author and speaker and former college teammate, so that was awesome. And just heading down for Baltimore, going down to our red-white scrimmage this morning.
All right. Cold day it's actually warmed up a little bit. It's pretty nice out, considering.
Yeah, we'll take this.
Yeah, for sure. We're only a few weeks away, February 10th, against the Naval Academy. Always a tough game to start the season with, because Navy, one thing about Navy, they always bring it, Coach, no matter good or bad or indifferent, they always bring it to the field.
Yeah, that
we lost him?
there.
All right, we got you. You there, Coach?
I am here. I'm just switching my gears here, and I will be good to go.
All right, good. What happened?
I guess Bruce, he was probably switching to his Bluetooth on his car. You know, John Tillman is a safe driver, most likely.
All right, we'll call back.
We'll get him back
in
a second.
Navy comes in on February 10th, and we look forward to it. Let's get Coach Tillman back on. And it happens to me a lot when you get inside the car, it makes that switch, and sometimes you lose it. But I know he doesn't know the number, so we'll get him on. He gets a pass. All right, I'll tell him he gets a pass.
Person of the year.
Yeah, sports person of the year, right. Can't wait for the season, the new attack, the new midfield. We're going to ask, Coach, I give you a pass, okay?
Hey, sorry about that. I appreciate you bearing with me for sure.
The national championship gives you a pass, all right? Coach, let's talk about the team a little bit. Let's talk about the rules. I know it's a work in progress. You're still 3-4 weeks away. How do you feel the attack is shaping up? I mean, I know what you've played in some of these preseason games and whatever, but they're preseason. But I think we can assume that Jared Bernhardt will definitely be on the attack, correct?
Yeah, there's a good chance of that. You know, I tried not to say never always, but, there's a good chance. We've tried to play him more down there this year, knowing we can always move him back to midfield, but that is his natural home. He's done a good job so far, but it's nice to have the flexibility if we'd like to move him around.
Who's in competition for the other starting attackman?
The other two guys I think that have really probably stood out the most right now, and obviously that could change, but Anthony DeMeo, who redshirted last year, came in mid-year, and he's from Southern California, Coronado area, has done a very good job. And Logan Wisnauskas, who's another freshman from Boys Latin, has played well so far. Louis Dubik is another guy that is a junior now, has played for us, has been on the extra man, very smart player, very skilled, very accomplished high school player that seems to be getting better and better as well.
It's funny about Wisnauskas. You mentioned his name in Baltimore. And Baltimore's different when you talk about lacrosse. Everybody knows Logan Wisconsin. I mean, he has had an incredible career at Boys Latin. Went to Syracuse for whatever reason, transferred to Maryland, and I think that there's tremendous excitement about him. But I think it'll be like an experiment for you early on to see the combination that works after you probably lost the best attack that you might ever have. You know what I mean? It's pretty tough to lose the three guys you lost.
Yeah, and it's kind of, depending on how you look at it, right, there's always a lot of comfort to experience and guys that have done it. And certainly, Dylan stopped by practice yesterday, so it was great to see him, and still stay in close contact with Colin and Matt. And those three guys just did a great job. Part of what makes coaching, I think, special is that it is ever-changing, and, it forces you to constantly, have to make some decisions and develop players, and it keeps it new and it keeps it fresh. And, while all of us are very comfortable with the status quo, inevitably in college you're going to get change. And again, it makes every year exciting. It forces you to become a better coach too.
Well, look, let's just all you do is look at the championship game when Rambo had but one goal and Colin did not score, but it was Maltz and Adam DeMillo and guys who maybe you would expect Maltz maybe, but Adam DeMillo coming up with 2 goals has to raise his stock mentally for himself coming into this year, being able to perform like that when the chips were on the table.
Yeah, we have a lot of confidence in Adam. Unfortunately for him, we were a little bit light in the defensive midfield position when he first got to Maryland. So, and he had a couple injuries he was dealing with. So he played a little bit more of a defensive short stick position when he was, freshman and sophomore. But we really have a lot of confidence, but we have a lot of optimism that, he'll have a really good year. So, the only thing surprising about Adam, scoring those goals is he actually did it with a broken finger. We weren't sure whether he was going to play in that game, but he had, I think, 7 stitches in one of his knuckles and broke his finger and still scored 2 goals in that championship game, which is kind of just a typical Adam DeMillo, just kind of very understated, tough kid, and just goes about his business.
I was at the basketball game the other day when the team was honored. That was a great night for you. It had to be meaningful for every player on that team. It was really special when they took center court.
Yeah, I think the guys really enjoyed it. Certainly appreciative of, the crowd, their applause, and you could feel their passion and energy and their support. And, we just have such a great fan base. Terp Nation's awesome. We, in my opinion, we have the best fans in lacrosse, and that's something that it helps us because of their support, but it also drives us because we know what lacrosse means to, our state, people like you, our school, our alums, and it's a great motivating factor. Again, I always try to remind people it's not a burden; it's a blessing. It's knowing that it means a lot to people, and seeing the passion and emotion after the game on Memorial Day, seeing people in tears, and even you, to me, it's part of being something bigger than yourself. Let's make sure we remember that, and I think that forces you to work a little bit harder.
Believe me, I was in tears of joy after some years of tears of sadness. All right, but definitely, it's a funny thing about the steps to the title. The man above sometimes gives you a program where you really have to earn it. And everything that you went through led to that championship last year. I honestly believe it. I mean, the unbelievable loss to North Carolina, it's so great that this team didn't fall apart, that they took it to another level. A lot of teams would sink after something like that. But this team, ignored it, took it to another level, and I think it was almost meant to be last year.
It did feel like so much came full circle, and everything kind of fed off each other. the unwavering support of our alums and our fans and everybody who's around the program. Even after the loss, they were so supportive. That helped us get through, the adversity. Instead of having, the tough times hold us back, it hardened us. And we got up off the mat after 2016 and said, all right, we just got to work that much harder if we're going to get this done. When big moments came last year, we had been through even bigger ones, and so we had to reflect back on, how we felt, the disappointment, and we were just going to work that much harder, dig in a little bit more, and realize, hey, we have a great opportunity. Let's not let this thing go. And again, the inspiration from, all the different people, everything kind of came together very nicely for us.
Yeah, some other guys, the team was walking off. I heard somebody scream out, Mr. Posner. I turned around, and it was a 6'3" blonde-haired kid who could only be Bubba Fairman. Right? He's a great personality. It's the kind of kid you need on a team. I mean, as he grows and becomes, in 2 or 3 years, you can really see him being that jocular kind of guy who's great, like Colin Heacock.
He'll be wearing number 2 this year, and certainly each person, on the team has their distinct personality. And we love the fact that everybody has a different personality, and I think it's about blending them together. And he reminded us so much of Colin. He's got this personality and this smile and this energy that you just see every time you see and meet Bubba, he has it. And Colin was the same way, so felt like it was a fitting tribute. I think one thing that's unique at Maryland, any number you get at Maryland, there was a great player and multiple great players, to correct myself, that wore that number. So any number you get is going to be special. We just felt like with, obviously, just the recent graduation of Colin and the similar personalities, we thought that would be a neat thing and kind of a tribute to Colin, but also, a little bit of a message to Bubba, hey, we think you can be great.
Well, and then we talk about, speaking of numbers, the guy you gave the ultimate honor to as a Maryland lacrosse player, number 1, Connor Kelly, who certainly deserved that honor this year. The histories of the number 1s at Maryland now rival any team in the country. And Connor is special. I assume he'll still be on midfield. But once the ball gets in the attack zone, Connor is the man, no doubt about it.
Yeah, and I'm really proud of Connor. We talk about, and one of the things that, was a theme, up here at the convention was dealing with adversity and challenges, and that's so much of what this is supposed to be. It's one thing to play a game, and it is a game, but there's all these teachable moments about life, and hopefully through the experiences here, we're getting guys ready for life. And unfortunately for Connor, sometimes we remember plays at the end of the game more so than we do at the beginning, and the plays are both equally important. Just because it happens in the first quarter versus the end quarter, they're both really, valuable parts of the game. Unfortunately, when it's later, sometimes that, weighs on us a little bit more. So, unfortunately, Connor took a lot on himself after that 216 game. We certainly didn't. We appreciate the fact that he had the courage to take that shot in overtime, and goalie made a good save, had good positioning. I know he felt like he let people down, but there wasn't one person in our program or related to our program that didn't want him to take it, want him to take it again, and he certainly didn't let anybody down. And he came back really motivated. He handled that adversity so well, and it's such a great teaching point for our younger players. And I'm so impressed with what he did, with Team USA. He's come back as a great leader for us. He realizes it's not just about scoring goals. It's, helping the younger guys and setting a good example. So he's certainly influencing our team in a really positive way right now. Yeah,
it's a funny thing when a play like that happens, all right, that people forget that without at that time, number 40, you're not even there. And if you had to pick one guy to take one shot from one angle, he took the right shot. All right? It just happened. That's all. The goalie's body just happened to interfere. But Connor was great last year. He was absolutely fantastic. And this year, his name is mentioned for everything. But what would be better than a repeat for Connor Kelly in the University of Maryland? But I'm not going to put any pressure on you, Coach. All right, because you know what? our team will always be there competitive. And what happens on the Labor Day or Memorial Day weekend, any one of those 4 teams can always win. When you get to that goal, and Coach, we are out of time, so I'm going to have to end it here. Thanks a lot for coming on. Congratulations on being the Sports Person of the Year. Thank you, Coach. I really appreciate it.
Thanks, and I appreciate all your support, and obviously awards like that, are a culmination of hard work for so many people, and my support staff and players are so great, and the support we get here from you and our alums and our state and our school and our fans is it's incredible. So that's something that honor belongs to everybody. It's kind of humbling for me, but it's important to realize that is a team award, not necessarily a personal award.
Coach, thanks a lot for coming on. We'll see you. I'll see you January 27th when you play Virginia. Take care, my friend.
Thanks a lot, Bruce. Have a great weekend, everybody.
You too. All right, that's Bruce Posner signing off. Koons Ford presents the Sports Maven.